Perfect. So I already had a good introduction, so there's no need to add something else. Here just my contacts. So if you have any questions for everything, if I can, of course, you can write to me, and I will be happy to help you. Well, go straight to the topic. Don't worry, I don't want to explain to you what it is a chatbot or what it is OpenAI or GPT. I am most confident that everybody knows what they are. But we have to understand first, very, very quickly, how it works, the technology behind, between what I call the old solution and the new solution to understand better the architecture that I want to show you today. And also, the main goal of this speech is one. Basically, I want to tell you that not always you need the first fashionable solution like GPT-5, GPT-10, or the last neural networks. Sometimes combining also old, what is called old in this field, it means that it was released 6 months ago. Yeah, but sometimes combining in a smart way old solutions. And today, proudly, I want to show you GPT-2, something that it was released 5 years ago or 4 years ago, doesn't matter. Combining with other solutions, that is possible to create something that is much more safe, having the same performances sometimes of the best competitor released yesterday, and better for your business. Of course, it depends. It's not always true. Okay. Well, I'm talking about Microsoft Lewis, but it's just an example. Okay. That could be Google Dialogflow, Amazon Polly, if it's still called Polly, I don't remember. Anyway, since yesterday, when we had to create a chatbot that was able to reply to someone, we used tools like that. That basically they are classifiers. So you put as input a sentence, you create some categories named intents, and you know very, very well that the result basically it is a score or the probability that new input matches with that category. To that category, you match a reply, a sentence, whatever you want, and that works very, very well, or at least worked. This is a typical flow where you had to design the entire conversation. Okay. Okay, let's go about pro and cons. Of course, the pro of using this kind of technology is that it's easy to use. There's no way. You have just to put a bunch of sentences and then to classify them. It's a really, really an easy job. Has a very good performances because now everybody has in their mouth OpenAI, ChatGPT because their conversation capabilities. That's true. But anyway, the performances were not so bad at all. Okay. But one of the most important things is that you have almost the full control of the conversation. That's it's a key point of this speech. And I already said it's still a valuable option, at least in my opinion. Of course, everything here is my opinion. The cons is that you have a restricted domain, for sure. Okay, because of math limits. The bigger is the model, the more problem you have. This is not the session to. This is not a deep dive on the on the math behind the deep learning. But anyway, that's a fact. When you use models like Microsoft Lewis, that basically are classifiers, the bigger it is, and not always it means the better it is. you start meeting some problems and some issues. So you are not able to manage a very, very big domain. Well, now talking about the magic OpenAI, I don't want to give a lesson on OpenAI, but just we have to figure out what are the main differences. The first one is that they do not classify. Everybody knows that they are called like generative AI, or is much more correct that in this case they predict the best next sentence based on the previous input. And that's a game changer. It's a game changer for everything. Okay. What we see today is just the pro. The pro is that for sure, there's no way to say that this is not true. There are unprecedented conversation capabilities. You know, there's no need to talk about that. Let's talk about cons, because that matter also in our business. Because one stuff is to create a video for our YouTube channel that is a clickbait showing how magic could be to use solutions like ChatGPT. Okay. Another stuff, if you are a CTO of a company and you have to guarantee some conditions and some results. So one stuff is to play, one stuff is the real life. Talking about real life, everybody, I guess that they know that large language models are unsupervised, as inside unsupervised content, because they can do differently. Okay, they come from the web. The web is created from humans. That's the reason why they are full of biases. They, of course, they did a very, very good job, but I wouldn't bet my life that everything works smooth in production. That's so you can control the answer, because it's based on a prediction. It's based on the cows. That's the truth. So you don't have the full control. And the cost, of course, cost at least 10 times higher. And also the resources to train, or if you want to run even other models than OpenAI one, because for example, like GPT-2 XL doesn't fit the training of this kind of GPU in the monitor. And that's a very, very good GPU. Anyway, that's the cons. If you are not happy about that, because you can say, okay, but that's your opinion, that's not truth. Okay, I already had this kind of discussion with several people. Okay, but in front of this screenshot, there's no speech. This is the uptime. Today, I'm talking today. I don't know if in 6 months, in 2 months, things will go better. But if you want to play, everything is magic. If you are the CTO of the company, this is a very, very big issue. Because we too uses OpenAI, and we had 24 hours down. I don't know your company, but in some companies, if you are responsible for the product, for the architecture, and you have 24 hours of down and nobody can do something, good luck. Okay. Finally, and then we start talking about the technology. That's the final reason why you would, listen, would is not a must, but you would create your own model for privacy issues. That is something that already happened. It's not invented by me. Because employee, for example, from JP Morgan used OpenAI to summarize their content, and then someone else, as the content that was used by OpenAI for the training, was able to catch very, very important informations from the company. That's a fact. Full stop. Because after the conference, after the speeches, I always have the feedback, hey, yeah, mad, that's not full stop. That's a fact. So what we can do to adjust this kind of cons? Biases. There's no way. The only one way is to create your own dataset. Guys, that's the only way. About hardware limitations and cost, well, I will show you an architecture that is not for free. Nothing is free, but is able to reduce cost, having this more or less the same result. Okay, it's based on the approach of divide et impera. What I mean that I used several AIs, several levels combined together, is like Auto GPT, and with this architecture we are able to reduce biases, to create a shield for biases, and also reduce cost. Before that, very, very quickly, field of applications. Of course, you don't want to reinvent again another Alexa, but for example, we are working on a digital assistant of you that is able to manage your own emails, calendar, also phone calls, because we did some test. Is still not finished, but it was able to order a pizza in Italy, and that's good. It's not so easy. And also applied to a smart, what I call the smart search. So what you can do is to make a query, go to Google, extract content, summarize, extract, and stuff like that, and doing Q&A. So a more interactive way to surf the web. Everything combined. Also for local search and so on. Well, to do that, we don't want to reinvent the wheel, of course. I'm too old to do that. Okay, this is something that I did when I was younger, but not today. So I used a project as a starting point and several tools from Hugging Face, GitHub, and of course Microsoft. And that's the project to start on. You can download it, is on GitHub, is free, is available, and is based on GPT-2. Not GPT-2 XL, but GPT-2 Medium. That's important, in my opinion, to outline that. Well, to train, of course, we need to understand the dataset. The dataset is based on persona chat, and this is the structure of the dataset. So, basically, how it works, that you have a bunch of sentences, name the personality there. Let's say 5, 6 sentences that describes you, what you like, what you are, whatever you want. Then, of course, there is the dialogue, and it's a weird structure where there are candidates that it was a pain to understand how it works. So I'm happy to share, to save time, that the structure works in this way. So the answer is the last row of candidates, and the other one, pay attention, there are not other option to answer, but instead is the opposite. So you use you very, very different sentences in order, if you want, of course, because it consumes resources if you use them. it's a way to say to the algorithm, okay, that's the way, that is not the way. More sentences you use in candidates, more RAM is needed. Then money, time, and so on. So it was great, really great. But if I have to say what it is an issue, is that you will agree with me that just 5 sentences, 6 sentences to describe a person are not enough. So we started to modify this architecture to improve the performances. And that's what we created. As I told you, this is the flow. And the idea, it was to use, in a first stage, Microsoft Lewis, that I showed you before, as a first level AI that takes in charge your input, classify it based on some categories of our life, like family, hobbies, personal data, what do you like, traveling, food, also sexuality, to manage unwanted content, religion, politics, and so on, whatever you want. Okay. So what happened? You write to your digital twin, to the chatbot. Then this sentence is classified in one of those categories. Then for each category, I match 5 or 6 sentences of that category. In this way, I was able to multiply from 5 sentences to describe you to 5 by 10. Okay, it's a lot of stuff, and it was a huge improvement, of course, because with a very small effort we did an impressive improvement. And that's the screenshot of Microsoft Tools of the panel. As you can see, we created the categories, and on the right you can find some screenshot of our panel where there are some sentences of my profile based on some categories. Before continue, one point for the training, there is an option that is named personality permutation. You can find everything in the GitHub page, but this parameter, in my opinion, is very, very important because I stuck with it a lot. And what it does, we said that for each category you have 5 sentences, let's say. So this is a parameter of, for each step, how much sentences he must rotate. There is not the perfect value. Depends on what you have to do and how many profiles you have to manage. Because one stuff that I have to say is that with this technique we were able to manage more than 100 profiles, but on the paper they could be unlimited, using the same AI. Okay, I will show you after in the demo. So the more you rotate, the more the model is generic. It means that you use much more the capability to be used without training. Because if you do a very good training, one magic thing of this kind of models is that the model start learning how to behave, and then if you want to add a new character, you don't need to train it again, because he understood how to retrieve informations. And that's a very, very important thing, in my opinion. Well, but everything is perfect? Of course, no. Everything can be improved. And what is a limitation of solutions like Microsoft Lewis in front of dialogues like that? Because I can classify, are you married? We are talking about, let's say, family. Okay, do you have a dog? We classify the pets with family, sorry. Okay, but what if the dialogue is, do you have a dog? Yes. His name, Alfred. What happen if I stop you in the street and I say yes? So in this case, as Microsoft Lewis, but again, Google Dialogflow, the other ones, okay, getting input just one sentence, they can manage conditions like that. So to improve the conversation capabilities, what we did? So I hacked the model, the same model, to do the job of Microsoft Lewis, but with dialogues. To do that, hacked is a bit strong as a word, but anyway, I modified the dataset, and what I did is to use candidates not to reply to a dialogue, but to classify it. So I forced a model that was born to generate dialogues to classify. And then, not happy about that, I used it as a language detector. As you can see, oh, my site is not good anymore, but I'm confident because I did the slide and I did the project. In candidates should be also the language, or maybe it's not visible here. Anyway, what today for sure there is the category separated by pipe and then the language, because with the same model we are able also to manage different languages, and that's also a very big advantage. So that just modifying the dialogue, the dataset. So very quickly, because I don't know, the time is not always from our side. So I already did some exchanges just to show you, then I will be happy if you want, I will make you to test. But very quickly, this is my profile in English, and for example here there are, okay, the sentence, are you able to see? Yeah, more or less. Here I described my career, okay, food, for example. Okay, I'm from Sicily, of course. I like food and so on. Lifestyle. There are a lot of information. So here there are more than 100 profiles, virtual and real. And as you can see, it transfers based on the content that I provided in my category, because what's your job has been classified here in green as English and career. Then what happened is that I go here, the model goes here, uses that 5-6 sentences to be inspired for the answer. This is how it works. Of course, it's much more complex, has much more capabilities, but we have to go. Well, so far great, but again, because I can't sleep the night, so I think, and then I have to find always something new. I tried to figure out a way to control a little bit the flow of the conversation, because one key point that we said you can do with this kind of solutions in a row. So I'm saying, okay, you go in the OpenAI playground and use it. You can do that. Of course, you can implement something like that. What is an issue is that you can't control the conversation. It's hard to do with solutions like Microsoft Lewis, but anyway, more or less it's possible to do at all with generative AI. But I tried, in this case, really, I did an hack. So this is the real structure that is used as input for the deep learning model. Okay. As you can see at the beginning, we have the sentences. There is a special token S as a separator, and then we have the dialogue, speaker 2, speaker 1, and that's the input, the raw input of the model. Well, what I did is to add a new tag named act. I also added some new other tags for others for other things, but today we will talk about act. And that's the way I use it. So basically, not always, but sometimes I use that tag as a command to force the conversation. So I asked to my team, when creating the dataset, please sometimes add this kind of command. Okay, in a different field of the MySQL table, because we use MySQL to store all the dataset. I don't know if it's possible to read. I apologize, but that's the space and the resolution I will tell you. So basically, on the left there is a common conversation of me, and what I say is, something like, what's your dream? Oh, my dream is to be a movie director, for example. But now, if you think as a marketer, as the head of the marketing, or the head of the sales, maybe that if we are playing, if you are going to play, okay, but if I want to sell something, I don't want that the conversation lasts too much, because I have to sell. Okay, so maybe I'm talking with him. How are you? My name is Sebastiano. I come from Italy. Oh, I come from Israel. Oh, well, wonderful, good. But after 10 exchange, someone could say, okay, guys, now start working. Okay? What I mean that we can trigger some things like that. Talk about whatever you want, but me marketing, I need to understand if he's married, if he has a dog, and if he has a car. I don't care why. I don't make question. It's better. But they need this free information. So, based on the conversation, if I understand that after free exchange, we do not start talking about something, I force the conversation with active conditioning, and I'm able to answer to your question, because maybe the last question is, do you have a dog? But in the same time is triggered the command, stop joking, start selling. Okay, you don't want to be rude and say, okay, now there is a big TV. No, first you do that, of course, but first you say, yes, I have a dog. You know, there is a very wonderful car that is suitable for you because you are married, you have a dog, and in my opinion, this car is perfect for you. maybe I was not able to find the prompt, for sure is what was my mistake, but also other people tried to do that, and so far was not easy, or at least was not possible to do that with OpenAI from the playground, at least. Well, we are going to finish in time. Well, that's not enough, because, okay, I have conversation capabilities, very, very high conversation capabilities. I can control the conversation. But now I miss just one brick. Because if I'm able to do that, I would like, because I want to sell something, because keep in mind that the best software in the world is useless if it's not sold. I want to profile you in real time. Because how I'm able to do what I said before? Because I have to understand very well that you have a dog. What's your name? If you are married, how many children do you have? So again, I used the same starting model from GitHub, and in the same way I used for classifying the dialogues, I modified something, and I bent that model to profile you using semantic triples. And that's the architecture of the dataset that I used. Well, in candidates, we have triples, where there is the subject, the relationship, and the value, of course, separated by pipe. That's my syntax. You can use whatever you want, okay? Of course. But one tip that I want to share with you, in the previous case, classifying dialogues, personality was empty, because I don't needed personalities for that task. Even in this task, personalities could be empty. But why I started to create my own classifier? Because something different to classify a text compared to classify a dialogue, and to focus just on the subject that I want to classify. Because when you pass in input a dialogue, you have also the informations provided by the AI and also provided by the users. So if the AI, for any reasons, replies that as a dog, I don't want that information is related to you. So it's a little challenging to tell to the AI, okay, focus just on all the lines. To help to do that, now looks easy, but it costed a month and a week of tests and pain and blood to figure out the best recipe. So I used personalities to reply the lines of the speaker that I want to profile. So if you want to profile the first speaker, in personality, I reply just the sentences of that speaker in the history. I don't know if it's clear. Anyway, in the right is that there is a screenshot of our working panel, and how we create our dataset to do that, to train the model. Okay. And that's the case that I already described before. So combining everything, we can do something really, really, really interesting, because we have to sell. Okay. So again, as you can see, this is one of our implementation. we trigger some informations. Once all informations are triggered, and if not, I try to drive the conversation using active conditioning, then is triggered a banner or another advertising, a video, whatever you want. Well, I guess that we finished. Perfect in time. So, final thoughts, next step. I guess that everything can be improved for sure. I it's true that OpenAI did and is doing a lot of improvements. It's up to you. The goal of this speech was not to say that you have to create your own model from scratch always. It's just to show you that there are other opportunities that not always in the real world, what I call the real world, the world of the companies that have to sell, that have to create a project for bank, that they can't have a chatbot that based on which they can risk, or that could be information stored, or stuff like that. Maybe you prefer, if it is, but that's not the case, because trust me, the conversation capabilities are really stunning, but even was not so stunning compared to OpenAI. That is not true, but even it was. Sometimes it's better a smaller performance in conversation capabilities, but to be much more safe and to have much more powerful solutions on the other field that are more suitable for our business. So it's up to you. I just showed you another way, because for sure internet is full of wonderful video about using best 10 topic mind-blowing about chat GPT. So that's the goal. I finished, and thank you very much.